Hey there, it's Jared Hamilton with the Hamilton Group at Cherry Creek Mortgage. Welcome to another edition of Java with Jared. Once again, happy Friday. Hope everybody's doing fantastic. And before I get into what actually happened this week, and it was a pretty big week here, I want to say happy Veterans Day, and thank you to all our veterans. You know, I heard a quote here this morning by Winston Churchill, and he said, "Never was so much owed by so many to so few." And I think that's super appropriate, and thank you to our veterans and all that you've given and giving us our freedom. So we wanted to get that out there. Wow, what a crazy week. It was a huge surprise here with what happened with the election. It's really made a whole lot of changes here into the financial markets. And I want to kind of tell you a little bit about what happened and why. But what a difference a day makes. That was my title, and you know, it's a different environment here today than well, actually, it was a different environment on Wednesday than it was on Tuesday in the financial markets. The election was a big surprise, and that just kind of changed things. We saw interest rates actually increase over the last 2 days here by just about 1/4 to 3/8%. So a big change. We did see some economic data that was introduced into the market, but that just really didn't matter here. It's all about what has happened with the election. And the reason that we saw such a big change is just because it was a big surprise. And so the markets started adjusting really immediately after the results of the election. So here's what's happened and what's going on. We did see that rates, again, like I said, have risen from about 1/4 to 3/8%. And we've blown through some really important technical levels in both the bonds and mortgage-backed securities. They just got hammered. Stock market has been doing pretty good, testing all-time highs. But stocks and bonds just got hammered. And we blew through the 200-day moving average, which I've talked about in the past. That's a pretty important technical level. So we're just basically at a whole new kind of range of interest rates. And the reason that all this is happening is because with the fact that, and just, please note, this is not political commentary. I'm just talking about analysis here. So with a Republican being not only president, also controlling the House and the Senate, there's a path for maybe some of those policies that Donald Trump has been talking about during his whole campaign to actually go through. And he was talking about a lot of additional infrastructure spending, tax cuts, and also defense spending. So with the fact that we now have one-party controlled House, Senate, and presidency, these policies have a better chance of going through, and that this could cause inflation, cause the stock market to do better, cause the economy potentially to do better, but also with the additional spending that's happening, it will also cause debt levels possibly to rise. And so if people are buying mortgage-backed securities today, and if there is inflation, and if there's going to be a lot more debt that is issued in the future, so in order to pay for some of these policies with tax cuts and also with more defense and infrastructure spending, there's going to be more debt issued, more bonds issued, and so yields would therefore need to rise. Now, interest rates are still fantastic. They've gotten worse, but we're at the levels that we saw in the end of last year and the beginning of this year, at levels since we haven't seen since January. Actually, the 10-year Treasury yield is now at 2.11%, or it hit 2.11% yesterday, and that has not been seen since about January. So they're still phenomenal. We're just not as good as where they were before. So we're probably going to be now in a new range here with these interest rates, higher, closer to that 4%, maybe some days slightly above 4%. Maybe some days slightly below 4%, but we're just in a different range than where we were when interest rates were kind of hovering around 3.5 to 3 3/4 range. So we'll see this for a little bit of while. There is maybe a bright spot middle of December when the Federal Reserve meets. As I've talked about before, most believe that the Federal Reserve will actually increased credit in December. Now, the odds have went down a little bit after the surprise election results, just because some wonder, is this going to be something that the Federal Reserve uses as an excuse not to increase credit? But that's probably pretty unlikely. And so if they increase credit, we have seen in the last couple of increases that has actually helped interest rates. So we might make up a little bit of ground, but I don't think that we're going to be at the levels, sustained levels that we saw earlier, this year. So we'll keep you informed, but again, that's kind of what's going on, and I think it was important for me to kind of tell you why the market was reacting as it is, in case you are asked by your clients, why is this happening? And so that's right now what the market is perceiving and why we saw these adjustments. Thanks for joining me with Java with Jared. Happy Friday again. Happy Veterans Day. If you have any questions, and if you're working this weekend, so are we. So just give us a call, and we're happy to help anybody, help your clients, help you. Just give us a call, and we'll do what we can. Again, thanks for joining me, and we'll talk to you soon, and we'll keep you informed and let you know how this really affects the market in the weeks to come. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.